This episode is sponsored by Chapman & Company.
Hi there and welcome to The Coffee Grinds, hosted by Mug.News. We are your baristas, Justin Krug
and Caitlin Clays. We have a great menu today that highlights impressive student entrepreneurs in Middle America.
So grab a cup of coffee and let's get to the grind. Hello and welcome to The Coffee Grinds, hosted by Mug.News, where we interview deserving student founders, creators, and leaders in the entrepreneurship space and give them the much needed recognition and credit that they deserve. I am your barista, Justin, presenting our flavor of the day, Rachel. So Rachel, thank you so much for dropping by the coffee shop today. Of course, well, we are so excited to have you. So Rachel, please introduce yourself to our fellow coffee-loving entrepreneurs and tell us what you've got brewing.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Rachel Widick, and I am a sophomore at Colorado Christian University. And in 2016, I started a business called Cookies and Milk. And this business is unique in that it is open during the course of the summer and even more specifically during a specific week. I started this business in 2016 and I was really active in school and activities. And so I had to be creative and think of a way where I could make money, but it would be a way where I would have more control over the hours and the time that I wanted to put in to the business. And so I came up with this idea where I would attend the Cass County Fair located in Nebraska, and I would simply sell freshly baked chocolate chip cookies that we made on site and ice cold milk. We also sell lemonade, tea, and water on the side as well. And so this idea started there as that small seed, and it has just really grown in the past 5 years that it has been open.
Right on. And what's your major, by the way?
Oh, yes. I am a mathematics major at Colorado Christian University, specializing in secondary education, and then I'm minoring in business.
Love that. Much respect. Absolutely. So was this your first idea? Because I know you mentioned you were looking for a way to make some money. Love that. You know, in high school, you're super busy. And this is something that has continued since high school. But was the cookies and milk formula, was that your first idea, or did you have some other iterations?
I mean, as a lot of high school students do, I started off with the whole babysitting route. And so that's was probably like my first entrepreneurial idea. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to be a babysitter. I'm just going to go do my thing on the weekends. And then as I wanted to get more serious about, having a business, it took some different routes. I thought maybe like something in the service industry. And then I decided that, you know what, I just really love chocolate chip cookies. I love making them for people. It's just something I love to do. And so that kind of just, that love for that just aspect of my life, I guess, just kind of led me into this idea of cookies and milk. And then I just kind of had to figure out what I wanted to do with that. And so then that's kind of when the fair piece came along. The other pieces just kind of started falling in there once I realized that chocolate chip cookies is what I wanted to do. So.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that sounds sweet. See what I did there? So once again, very cool, Rachel. That is awesome. So I have to know, most entrepreneurs kind of have like a story of, that first taste of entrepreneurship, what inspired them to become an entrepreneur in the first place. So I have to know, what is that for you?
Yeah. So my most basic answer to that question is I needed a car. I needed to get funds to buy that car. I was 15, and so that number 16 was looming in the near future, and I wanted to have a car to drive myself to school in. And so that was kind of what pushed me towards this idea. Additionally, my dad is an entrepreneur himself, and so just with his support and guidance and encouragement, I had seen him do it in my life. And so I had that example to kind of follow in his footsteps and be able to decide that this is something that I think I can do too. And so, yeah, with that need of wanting a car in high school and with the example that my dad had set in front of me, that's kind of what led me, or my first taste of entrepreneurship for sure.
That is so cool. And it is amazing how that works out, right? If your family is entrepreneurial wired, in most cases, it kind of, it passes to that next generation. So that's really cool to hear. I have to know as well, are there any exciting developments or news that you'd like to share regarding your business?
Yeah, so unfortunately last year, like due to COVID, we weren't able to do the same amount of events and things that we wanted to do just as a business because of the restrictions placed upon us. And so that led us to do more of a virtual online ordering system. And while that was great, I'm really excited for this upcoming summer and the chance to see our customers face to face again and be able to interact with them, specifically at the Cass County Fair. That is our plan for this upcoming summer. Obviously, we have to be flexible with that and just, obviously follow guidelines and restrictions that come with COVID. But it's August 10th through the 14th. And so that's kind of our main event that we will be focusing on and getting ready for this summer. And there's other things in the works that we just have to kind of wait and see. But we'll make sure to let everyone know as soon as we have those events ready. So
yeah, 100%. Definitely keep us posted. I know you mentioned initially the business obviously started in person. However, last year you had to pivot essentially because it was hard to get in person or impossible. So I know you mentioned offline that you had started selling cookies and milk online. You navigated your business to that online setting. Of course, at first there were some struggles with that. It wasn't as easy. There was a little bit of a learning curve, but do you see that also taking place in some capacity in this next year if all goes well and you can actually be in person as well?
Definitely. I think the online system, like you said, there's just definitely a learning curve that had to happen. And so now that I feel like I've better worked out the kinks, I know kind of how that operates and how that runs. I have a lot of respect for people who do that off every single day and had to figure that all out too, because every business was kind of in the same boat trying to figure out what does COVID mean to us? How are we going to navigate this? And so I have a ton of respect for people who were doing that as well. For sure in the future, I really like the idea of an online system. What I'm not sure exactly what capacity that will be in, but for example, maybe holidays or just different seasons where I open up the ordering platform and allow people to place their order online. I did delivery as well. And so I had 2 events associated with the online platform. So my first event was like a pickup event at just my house. And so I had a big tent set up and balloons, and it was just kind of like just a fun little thing. And people came by and we safely just gave them the cookies and just from the safety of their car. And so that was our first route. They could order them and then pick them up that way. Or I did deliver in a certain radius around Plattsmouth, Nebraska. And so that definitely just allowed me to reach a different customer base and to just get some more people knowing about the business besides people who just attend the Cass County Fair. So that was definitely a huge positive and a huge blessing that came out of having to switch gears in what I was doing. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's what makes entrepreneurs, right? The ability to adapt and pivot. And in most cases, that's how businesses are formed. And love that. So great stuff, Rachel. I'm really excited to hear the developments as they come out. But you'd also mentioned that you are a student at Colorado Christian University. So I'd also love your perspective on this question, which is, do you feel there's adequate support from your community, the Colorado community, regarding entrepreneurship? And do you think that, do you think that, is there funding opportunities, resources, mentors, or entrepreneurship organizations, etc.?
So one thing that is super exciting about Colorado Christian University is that they're actually launching an entrepreneurship major this fall. And so that is just super exciting. Our professors are wonderful. They all have worked in their fields. They're currently working in their fields. And so they just have a lot of great perspectives, and they're just, the class sizes are a lot smaller. And so you just are able to form those relationships, and they are so great at being a mentor for you and wanting to help you succeed. And so I would say that we're definitely growing towards having more support, and just, especially with the entrepreneurship major, they just really want to make sure that kids do feel supported, like they can pursue their dreams. And so I'm just super excited about that opportunity, just for all the students who are coming in the future, and for current students, just what that's going to mean for them. I was super blessed to have a family that taught me up in that way, but I know that a lot of people aren't that way. And so just having another support group, such as your professors that are helping you and teaching you, and they've been there, they've walked through it themselves. Many of them have their own companies themselves. And even more specifically, I'm in a class this semester, and it's going over management and how you do that and how you deal with people. And he has ran very successful businesses, and he is just always wanting to let us know that his door is open. He wants to help us. He will help you. Just start. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is just get going. And just I'm so grateful for that, and I'm just really excited for what that means for the people here at CCU.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more with what you said there. It's just, I use this analogy that it's the kid looming over the diving board, it's scared to take the plunge. And it sounds like that community is in a supportive way, of course, just pushing that kid off the diving board and saying, go for it. And I think you absolutely hit it spot on when you mentioned you and me as well. We have family that are entrepreneurs, and a little bit of that rubs off on you. However, kids that don't grow up with family that are business owners, that are entrepreneurs, it's difficult in some cases. So having that support group, 100% agree, super vital. Got one more question for you, and that is, of course, with this show being very coffee themed, it only makes sense that I ask you this question, which is, what coffee do you think best describes you as a person or your business, and why?
All right. I think I'm going to go with my business. Cookies and milk. It's it's a classic, people grew up having it. Maybe it's a comfort food. Maybe on a rainy day you would eat it. So I just think, when I think of a coffee that correlates with that, I would probably say a vanilla latte. It's classic, it's sweet. It just reminds me of my business in coffee form, if you will. So I think that's what
100%.
I would say. Yeah. That was a fun question.
Timeless and sweet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Rachel, I'm looking at my mug over here, and an empty mug means that we are all out of time for today. So thank you so much to our guests for sharing more information about their blend of hard work. You can find out more about what they do through the links in the menu description, or you can go to mug.news to see their feature article. Make sure to leave comments and subscribe to mug.news for more hot takes like this one. And we'll see you next time at the Coffee Grinds. Rachel, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.